Okay, this lesson is about density, and if you look at these three metals, they're all metals, shiny, kind of silvery looking. They all look about the same, but they're three different kinds: aluminum, silver, and zinc. And one big difference that you can tell them apart is by their density. If you look at these values of the density of these three different metals, there's a big difference between them. And so that's one way to tell them apart. They look alike, but that density is a physical property that helps you tell them apart. And it doesn't depend on how much there is or what it looks like. It only depends on what type of material it is. It's easy to get the density. There's three steps to it. Find the mass, find the volume, and divide the mass by volume. And we can use an equation for that. Density, D, equals mass, M, divided by volume, V. So that's the equation. The unit of mass should be something like kilograms or grams. The unit of volume should be something like liters, milliliters, or centimeters cubed. I'm going to go ahead and write it on here. 1 milliliter equals 1 centimeter cubed. These are two common units of volume that we use in this class, and they're the same thing. So here's an example. A student goes mining for gold, and they find a metal, and it looks like gold, but there's only one way to tell if it really is gold, or one easy way to tell is just by determining its density. And so the student got the mass of the gold and the volume of the gold, and this was looked up in a table or on the internet or something as the known density of gold. So if you can determine the density of the metal you found and it's the same as that, then you can be pretty sure that it's gold. So I'm using my equation. Density is mass over volume. The mass, now if you examine these units, 103,255 milligrams. Milligrams is the unit of mass, but if you look in the density, it's grams. So what I'm going to have to do is change that to grams. 103,000, let me get my pen going back here again, is 103,255 milligrams is 103.255 grams. All I did there is move the decimal point 3 places because there are 1,000 milligrams in 1 gram. The milliliters is fine for the unit of volume because it's there and there. So when I go and plug this in over here, all I'm going to do is divide 103.255 grams, divide that by 5.35 milliliters, ml. And I got a calculator here, and when I did that I got 19.3. So what that means is, and the unit of that is grams per milliliter, if you divide the units, that means that this is probably gold, is what he found. Okay, next is another little bit more difficult one. What if you had a block and there was a density that was 0.78 grams per centimeter cubed and the volume was 324 millimeters cubed? That should be centimeters cubed and millimeters cubed. And those numbers are both down here. And so the goal is to find what is the mass. So yes, density is mass over volume. And we're trying to find what the mass is. So if you rearrange that, you'll get the mass is equal to the density times the volume. The density times the volume is the mass. The density we know, 0.78 grams per centimeter cubed. The volume we know, but if you look at these units, they're not the same. Centimeters cubed for the density unit, volume is in millimeters cubed, so those things are inconsistent. And I happen to know that there are 10 millimeters, and that's equal to 1 centimeter. But that doesn't just mean that you divide by 10. You have to divide by 10 3 times. So my goal is to get 324 millimeters cubed and change that to centimeters cubed. So the way you do that is use this conversion factor here, but you got to do it 3 times. You got to divide by 10 3 times because it's a volume and it's not just a distance measurement. So if you divide by 10 3 times, you get 0.324 centimeters cubed for the volume of the block. That's the volume of this block. So if you want to know the mass, it's the density times the volume, 0.78 grams per centimeter cubed, and we multiply that by the volume, 0.324 centimeters cubed, and that right there, centimeters cubed and centimeters cubed, cancel out. So you're left with grams. You multiply those two values together and you will get, I got my calculator here, 0.78 times 0.324, and the mass I get is 0.253. I'm rounding, but 0. Get the pen again, sorry. 0.253 grams. And there's another example for you.